So within the first part of the quiz, we were asked to figure out how many grams of nitrogen there are in ammonium dichromate, the amount of atoms in hydrogen, and that's 1.81 times 10 to the 24th atoms, and we need to convert that to grams of nitrogen. So our first step is to put 1.81 times 10 to the 24th hydrogen atoms over 1, and then in the fraction next to it, we're going to do 2 nitrogen atoms over 8 hydrogen atoms, because that's how many atoms is in ammonium dichromate. Step, we're going to use Avogadro's number, and that is 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms per mole. So we're going to put 1 mole on the top and 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd on the bottom. Finally, we're going to use the mass of nitrogen itself, and we're going to do 14.01 grams of nitrogen over 1 mole. And finally, we can cancel out the hydrogen atoms, the nitrogen atoms, and the moles, so that we're only left with grams of nitrogen. And when you calculate that out, you get 10.527, and then sig figs, you would get 10.5 grams of nitrogen. Part B, we were asked to find the empirical and the molecular formula given the percentage of potassium, chromium, and oxygen. So there's 26.6% of potassium, 35.3% of chromium, 38.1% of oxygen. Masses that are found in the periodic table, you take the percents and divide it by the mass number. So it would be 26.6 divided by 39.1 grams of potassium, 35.3 divided by 52.00 grams of chromium, and finally 38.1 divided by 16.00 grams of oxygen. Those are 0.68 for potassium, 0.68 for chromium, and 2.38 for oxygen. So then you're going to take those numbers and divide them by the smallest of the three. So obviously that's 0.68. 0.68 divided by 0.68 is going to get you 1. And so potassium equals 1, chromium equals 1, and when you do 2.38 divided by 0.68, you get 3.5, and that's your number for oxygen. In your empirical formula, you cannot have a half number of an element, therefore you can't have oxygen being 3.5, so you have to round that up, and that would get you to K2CrO7 for both your empirical and your molecular formula, and this is the name of potassium dichromate.